Whoo, boy. Cowboys get the win, but whoo, boy. Uh, Controversial style. What else would it be on Jimmy Johnson's night? A lot of stuff. Some good plays on good plays, not so good plays. We're going to talk all about it here in just a minute. Cowboys get the win, moved 11-4. But man, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight, man. Hang with your boy.
Two times on the beat, bitch.
Whoo! Cowboys get the win. Y'all, please like, comment. Please like when you come on to the live. Hit the like, please, and make some comments. I mean, talk back and forth. I got my chat open. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. All right, let's talk about it. Cowboys come into this game. They playing a tough team in their building. Team has won more games than them. They got 11 wins. We got, they still got 11 wins. We got the same record now, but we moved to 11-5. On Jimmy Johnson ring ceremony now. We'll talk about that in a minute too. But man, it had a lot of stuff going on in this game, man. First of all, if you're gonna ask me, and I always like to say when the Cowboys win, how's your water tasting? It's shaky. That's how my water tastes. Because when that 2-point conversion was being tried, I'm sitting there, man, my heart beating out of my chest. I'm like, you can't tell me we're finna lose this game after. I know it was 23 seconds left and we had a couple timeouts, so I really wasn't. I didn't think it was impossible, but I really didn't want to come to that because I know if we get it just beyond mid court, midfield, Brandon Aubrey money. All right, so I wasn't really worried. 23 seconds. If you got a couple of timeouts, you can get about 4 plays. They're probably gonna play soft zone like we was playing, and they had proven that they couldn't guard CeeDee Lamb. I'm gonna talk about his day. He had himself a day, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But yeah, my heart was beating out of my chest as I was like, goodness, they called a timeout. I said, okay, Quinn, get them boys settled. That's a 2-point conversion. It's the game. You don't want to lose 3 in a row. And of course they, had some difficulty. We'll get to that here in a minute, but and they didn't get it. But the water's shaky right there. But anyway, first thing I thought we did wrong, we deferred. Now, I thought Mike McCarthy learned his lesson in the Buffalo game. Like, look, we take the football so we can get a lead, and then we can, dictate the terms of the engagement. If you understand what I'm saying. See, if you score first, then you kind of like, you dictate, right? And but they didn't. They gave them the ball, and and then of course they go down. They had a couple. I think they had a couple of third downs that they end up getting, and they end up kicking a field goal. We end up keeping them out the end zone. They got to kick the field goal, and of course now we get the ball, and we're just driving, right? And where's my? Yeah, their drives, man. They yeah, in their first drive, they go 11 plays, 52 yards, and they kick at the Dallas 23. They kick a 41-yard field goal, and it's 3-0. And so, I mean, all things considered, it wasn't too bad. We kept them out of the end zone, right? But then we get the ball and we go like 6 plays and 42 yards. We're inside just about to get inside the red zone. Dak gets rushed and he kind of flings one out to the right sideline, threw it a little bit late, and then I can't think of what the kid's name is, but he made a nice play on the ball and swiped it from CeeDee Lamb, and I'm like, goodness, we was in field goal range too. We could have tied the game up. We threw a pick. Dak was pressured, which we'll get to that in a minute too, because there was pressure coming a couple of different places and stuff like that. But and so, but the thing about it is that we didn't let them take advantage of that, right? Because when the Lions got the ball back, we held them to 5 plays and a punt, and then we get the ball and we go 3 plays and we went 92 yards, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say something about that 92-yard play. Now, it's just amazing how people look at certain things based on who the person is doing the particular thing, right? And I'm gonna tell you what I mean. Okay, so we're at like the 8-yard line. It's I want to say it was. We're gonna see here. I'm gonna tell you what it was. It was 3rd down and 13 at the Dallas 8. Okay, and he got pressured, um, and actually could have been a safety, and he got, I think it was number 55, I think, as his coach was talking to him on the sideline. I can't remember what his name was, but and he got a kind of a shot on Dak, but Dak kind of sidesteps it and rolls out to his right. And that's just about like 5-6 seconds in the pocket now. So he sees CeeDee Lamb kind of curling back underneath, curling back towards the sideline, and the defender kind of falls down because he wasn't expecting CeeDee to make that move. And Dak just hung that thing out there, just hung it up there, and CeeDee came down with that with no defender. He was basically trotting from the 40-yard end. So that ends up being a 92-yard touchdown throw, right? And I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, yeah, look at that, look at that. Go on, do it, do your thing, Dak. But I hated how the narrative is, oh, he should have been sacked, right? Now, had that been Jalen Hurts, you know what they'd have said? Oh my gosh, look how he escaped that pocket and kept his eyes downfield and made this wonderful throw to Devontae Smith for a 92-yard. But because it's that, I'm sorry. I gotta call a spade a spade. Oh, he should have been sacked. I don't know what the defender was thinking of there. How many times do you say you don't know what the defender's thinking about when Jalen don't get tackled in the pocket and eludes and makes a throw? But he's just brilliant. Oh my God, what a brilliant move, right? But Dak didn't make no brilliant move. He was just lucky, right? That's the stuff I'll be talking about when I be talking to folks that be talking about, hey, y'all was lucky. No, you look at stuff cockeyed. You cockeyed. Because had that been Jalen, had that been Lamar, had that been, I don't know, that was, oh my gosh, how deftly he avoided the rush and avoided the safety and was able to keep his eyes downfield. But you don't say that about Dak. He's lucky. He's fortunate. Oh, the Lions really should have got away with it. That's a 9-point swing around because it should have been 2 points for the Lions instead of 7 points for the Cowboys. And you never would have heard that said about Jalen Hurts. It's just amazing how much that they don't that but whatever success Dak get is lucky. Oh, he was fortunate. Oh, he shouldn't have been able to do that. Oh, the defense had to have been going to sleep on that one. He couldn't have. People forget Dak like 245 pounds. He's big. It ain't like you can just breathe on him and he'll go down. Okay. But that was an amazing play I thought that he made on that play. And hey, what's going on? Everything good, Teflon, everything good. I'll read my comments. What I miss? What I miss? I ain't got on it yet, man. I just got on. Give your boy a chance to unwind a little bit, man. I'm gonna I'll get to him. But yeah, everything good, man. Everything good. Look, man. But that was an amazing play. It was an amazing play for CD to keep himself alive, for Dak to keep himself alive in the pocket. And Dak just makes good throws. I mean, every now and then he makes it, but all quarterbacks make bad throws. I saw Jared Goff make a couple of bad throws. He should have had about 4 picks tonight, because the one where in the end where Micah was maybe offside, because it looked like he was a little bit off the line when he jumped, but I think he called that too. And then he threw a pick in the middle of the field. I want to say, was it Parsons that called it? Somebody called. I can't remember who it was. That should have been his third pick. But he threw 2 picks to Jordan Lewis where he jumped routes and caught him slipping. But anyway, we get a touchdown on that drive, and then of course now we forced them on the punt, and we forced them into a punt, and yeah, man. And see, y'all got to understand too. My comments is in another thing, so I got to switch things when I go to my comments or whatever. So it's like it's in a I'm in a rest stream page, and so I'm not on a YouTube, even though it feeds to YouTube and feeds to Facebook. I'm in a rest stream uh, like a font or whatever. So I have to go to a different tab to pull the. I get like a little indicator down here to tell me that I have chats and whatnot. So I have to go over there to it. It's not like in the same screen and whatnot. So that's why I'm over here now. So I see Teflon was saying what's up to me, man. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you watching me, man. So, but anyway, so right after that, the Cowboys they held them again, and I liked how now look they gave up some runs late, man. I mean, goodness gracious, they gave up some big runs late, but early in the game, I like how spry we was against the run. And I thought Detroit was a little conservative on them, like they was trying, oh yeah, we're gonna smoke them up there. And we was game for that. And they kept throwing him in there, and DeMarcus Lawrence was just like, no, you ain't fixing to move me. A couple of times they didn't even try to even block him. So he's like, oh, you forgot who I am in this league? One of the best run defending defensive linemen in the league. And he stuffed a couple of them runs or whatnot. And so we was able to get back on the field on a couple of those. Yeah, we held them. We got after a touchdown. We held them to 3 plays in the punt. They ran it, and they got a penalty for false starts that made it first and they got 5 yards on first down. Then it was false start, and then it was no gain up the middle, and there was a -3, and then it ended up being 4th and 5. Okay, and so. And I'm wondering, is that the same one that? No, that's not the one. That's not the one. And so we got the ball back, and then we threw an interception. We also gave them 2 plays and 3 plays and -5 yards. Again, they was trying to run it down our throats, and we made a punt. Okay, and we got the ball, and we go uh, uh, 6 plays and 53 yards, and we down inside the 5-yard line, and throws a little flip pass from like the 7. I think it was like 3rd and like 3 or 4, something like that. He was trying to get first and goal, and CeeDee Lamb catches a little dump pass out of the, just in the flat sort of, and he kind of, and I think in the process of trying to, I don't know, I think he was trying to maybe uh, reach it into the end zone or whatever. I don't know. And he fumbled it. And I'm like, okay, fumbled it out to the 1-yard line, but he fumbled it into the end zone. I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go, man. Another time we drove the ball down in inside the 5, and we fumbled the ball. I mean, we got to stop doing that. Because see, you lose all of that effort when you go that deep into the, anytime you get inside the 5-yard, you got to cash that in, man. You can't come away with no points, right? Because we could have ended up going up 10-3, but we ended up leaving it at 7-3. And of course, um, they try, they come back and they try a fake punt, and they get down, and and they tried some things. But Dan Campbell's a gambler, man. I kind of like that to a certain degree, but it ended up coming back to bite them late in the game. But it ended up being halftime 7-3, and I'm like, we really should have been up 14-3. Of course, now I'm not going to take both of them because they say, "Oh, well, you are lucky to get the 92-yarder," and really they show only you should be down 3-0. I'm like, wait a minute, you going to take both plays from us? So because I'm fair and say, okay, well, 7-3 is kind of what it should have been because okay, maybe we got a gift on the 92-yarder. I don't think that, but then you got to say it's a gift. The guy that fumbles the ball through the end zone at the one that he wasn't touching, like he got knocked out of his hand, just fumbled it out of his hands. All right. So it's like you want to take both of them, and we don't get no points in halftime. You ain't gonna get both of them. We give you give us the 92-yarder and give us the okay, and we'll let you have the fumble at the 1-yard line in the 7-3 like it should have been. Because you say, oh, it should have been a safety. Okay, it should have been 5-7. How about that? Okay, it should have been 7-5 Dallas. And that's like a Texas Rangers Detroit Tigers score, right? In the bottom of the 7th inning, right? So halftime was what it was. I was getting goosebumps watching the halftime, watching Jimmy Johnson going to the Ring of Honor. I mean, look, man, you know how I feel about Jerry. Jerry said, "You inspired me, man." Yeah, okay, man, whatever. Yeah, if you're inspired, what you let him go for? Why would you, if you're so inspired by him, why would you say I can get 400, 500 coaches I can get to coach this team, right? If you're inspired by him, don't get me wrong. I know it was a lot of stuff. They went side by side and they was all running this thing. I know everything had to be run by Jerry, because Jerry has the money. It ain't like Jimmy could go make a deal. He had no money. He had the money to swing a deal. So he's spending Jerry's money. I get that. So you got to run everything by Jerry. But it ain't like Jerry got the intel. I keep saying that. It ain't like he knows who can play and who can't play. Somebody got to tell Jerry that. He's an oil man. All right? He's an oil man. He been in oil ever since he got out of football. But Jimmy ain't been in football. He one of them dudes that can look at a guy and say, man, that guy can play. Yeah, that guy can't play. Yeah, that guy got something right there. If I can light a little fire in him, I can get more out of him. Because he was talking about how they put together that world-class offensive line that really wasn't world-class, but it ended up being that because they took Mark Tuanay, who was a defensive lineman, wasn't very good at it. They turned him into a tackle. Right? They turned. I'm trying to figure what Stepnoski was, but he wasn't what he was. He would end up being something else, and he wasn't good at that. And they turned him into that, and he had a fat Nate Newton. He said he's way overweight, and he kind of been on other teams. They got him in our 3rd round pick, and Eric Williams, and I want to say it was Kevin Gogan, who had been on other teams and wasn't good, but they had I can't think what the coach was. He said, but they kind of worked with the coaches and they was able to cultivate that. It wasn't like they was all 1st round draft picks, can't miss blue chippers. These were guys that was has-beens and never was's. But God, what was that guy's name? Is it Tony Rich? Tony Fine? It was Tony somebody that was instrumental in putting that offensive line together. That he talked about that. But anyway, as he was talking, you hear like, when then they let Jimmy talk, and he was like, when they put this stuff together, they wasn't a good team, and they just kind of like hung together. They was 1-15 the first year, and they said neither Michael was good, Troy wasn't good, nobody was good, but we hung in there, and they made some trades. And like I said, when they made them trades, they had Herschel Walker, and I'm sure Jimmy Johnson was like, I like Herschel, but dang, he can get us about 4 or 5 other players that we can use. And so they made that trade. Minnesota bit, and the rest is history. They was able to get Emmitt Smith and some other players. I think even Darren Woodson might have been a player that they ended up getting out of that trade, sort of convolutedly, kind of. And they was able to stack together some other moves that was able to get them some other players that was able to, fortify that team. And then next year they went 7-9, and they won a lot of the games down the stretch, man. And then, of course, that next year it broke through and had 11-5, and then they got lost to Detroit, and of course, it was Super Bowl, and then he got run off. But I liked how he was going back and forth talking about that, man. I was tearing up because I remember them days, man. I remember it. I go back further than some of y'all. I was well in my late 20s when that was going on, probably like 27, 28, around that age when that was going on. I was watching those games, and I was just watching that team come together, watch them get better and better and better and better. And then you saw guys that you didn't know if they was going to be great players. You saw them in college, and you saw them become superstars like Aikman and Irvin and Smith. You saw them become superstars. You saw guys like Darren Woodson. You saw him at Arizona State. You saw him become a superstar. He might be getting in the Hall of Fame this year, man. Let's keep our fingers crossed on that, right? And so anyway, man. So we go to halftime and it's 7-3. They do all the festivities and everything, and it was it was kind of uh it was kind of rough, man. And of course, now we made Detroit. I like before halftime they made Detroit go 11 plays and 7 plays, 31 yards, and they turned them over on downs. They went for it on fourth down inside their own whatever. And I thought that was important. So both teams, like last week Miami, their coach is ultra aggressive, and he went forward inside the 20 and didn't get a first down and turned the ball over on downs. And I think Detroit did the same thing. I think it was 2 plays before half. But anyway, second half got kicked off, and we go 4 plays, and we end up punting. But on that drive, Tony Pollard had ran a little in cut. Man, if he catches that, man, he off to the races. But he dropped it, man. I don't know. Things are starting to become in Tony Pollard's head, I guess, man. Because he ran some good runs. He got stuffed at the line of scrimmage on some. I think he ended up with about like 60 yards on. Let's see what he ended up with getting. But Detroit ended up getting the ball back and go 9 plays, 75 yards. It was a lot of runs on that drive. Um, you know, it was yeah, I got let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Um, no, I'm on the wrong one. Here we go, right here. Oh no, they kicked the yeah, they had a touchdown. So they ran the ball. Um, uh, for 3 yards to Montgomery. And then Montgomery again for 22 yards. So they're starting to gash us a little bit. And then Montgomery for 4 yards. And then Montgomery for 4 more yards. Then it was 3rd and 2. And then Gibbs off left tackle for for no gain. So it made it like 4th and 2. And then they ran that short pass to Laporta. I thought that Curse was a little short on that drag across. You know how that close plays where the receiver is zigzag, is going across behind the line of scrimmage. He's going in motion, and then the other guy's mirroring him. And you realize he's only got to get 2 yards. And I thought like Curse was a little lackadaisical in him attacking that motion. When the ball was snapped, I thought he should have made a beeline for that. He kind of just trotted and kind of allowed Laporta to get that 2-3 yard catch for that first down. And I call and I guess you got to play it a little cautious, because what if it's a play fake and he has to go up top and he gets behind you? I get all that too, but I just thought he played that a little. I thought he played that a little soft and allowed him to get that first down. And then after that, uh, you know, Gibbs went off tackle for 9 yards, and then and then we he didn't get he went off left tackle. He short pass to Josh Reynolds uh, for 13 yards, so at the Dallas 11. So this drove the ball down. They went 9 plays, 75 yards, got a touchdown. So now it's 10-7. But you know what? You know what I liked though. I liked that the Cowboys came right back with a couple of big plays on third down. I think it was a 3rd and 1, and Pollard went off tackle for 18 yards. And we had a 3rd and 11, and he went short middle to CeeDee Lamb for 14 yards in the first down, which automatically puts us in field goal range. And of course, we don't get that. I think the third down one Was short. It was incomplete to CD Lamb. I think he was looking for a flag on that one. Didn't get it. So it was fourth down. Of course, Brandon Aubrey's money, so it ties it up at 10. And and so and so then Detroit goes down to get them a field goal, 7 plays and 63 yards. And they kick a field goal, go up 13-10. But then I like that the Cowboys came right back and they in their own drive and they go 9 plays, 75 yards. It was a couple of third downs that they got. It was a 3rd and 5 where uh, he hits Brandon Cooks off the right, off the left side there. They thought that he might have didn't catch that right side. They thought he might didn't catch it, but Brandon Cooks, if it comes anywhere near him, he's catching that thing, right? And he catches that, makes it a first down. There's 1st and 10, and then we go. Prescott runs it for 5 yards. It was like a broken play because I think he was trying to hand it off to somebody, but wasn't nobody home. And he ran up the middle for 5 yards, and Aikman said, "Oh, that's one of the best runs the Cowboys had all night." I'm like, Aikman, be quiet, leave us alone. But it was end up being he missed it on 2nd down. They end up being 3rd and 5, and then he hits Cooks again for 21 yards on a nice little end cut. Cooks is so good. I hate that we underuse him. Cooks is so good. Um, and so we end up getting the first down there. Then and then we go 1st and 10 from the 14, and we'll go Pollard up the middle for 6 yards for 2nd and 4, and then he hits Cooks again for 8 yards for a touchdown. Uh, I'm telling you, man, Brandon, that was a beautifully executed pass. He kind of runs and kind of cuts across towards the sideline. Dak just kind of feathers that thing, and it kind of lands. It lands over him, over the outstretched hands of the defender, right in Brandon Cook's hands. And of course, you get in the little bow and arrow thing. I love that when Brandon Cooks does that. Brandon Cooks is so underused, right? And so we go up 17-13. And then, of course, now the Lions got a chance to come back, and then we shut them down, don't get them a first down. And then I thought we should have been salting it away, but Terrence Steele, I'm starting to become worried about Terrence Steele because I thought we should have got ourselves in field goal range, but Aiden Hutchinson, shouts out to Aiden Hutchinson's a dog, man. He just is. He's just good. Because he got Tyron Smith on one where he kind of faked outside and came back inside. And Tyron couldn't get his hands on him quick enough, and he got in and got a sack. But the spin move he did on daggum Terrence Steele, I like, Terrence, pick your jock up, man. He got you on that one. I'm like, come on, Terrence, man. Because if we'd kicked the field goal, it would have been 20-10. 20-13 already, right? But we end up having to punt because that sack, and so and I'm gonna tell you when it was here, and of course I don't get out of my stuff. But anyway, so they get the ball back, and then of course I'm gonna tell you something. Jordan Lewis, man, all y'all that's been giving Jordan Lewis guff, y'all gonna get off of Jordan Lewis, man. Jordan Lewis played some good football today. Knifing inside. Jordan Lewis ain't but about 5'7" or 5'8", right? About 175 pounds. But he was getting in there, making tackles on the run. I mean, he got a couple times in the middle. I mean, that's fine. He's going to get got a couple times. But a couple of times, man, in the first half, he jumped a route in front of, I don't know if it's Amon-Ra St. Brown it was, or if it's Josh Reynolds. But he jumped in front and got a pick. And then on this play in the fourth quarter, he jumped in front and got a pick like at the 25-yard line. And I pretty much thought the game was over at that point, right? But we didn't execute the clock right. And we're going to talk about that. And of course, they end up getting a field goal and going up 20-13, but they end up letting the Lions go right down the field in soft coverage. They go down to like 5 plays and get a touchdown, and then the 2-point conversion was goofy, and we get a win 20-19. All right, let's examine some of this stuff now. So I got questions. All right, because after Jordan Lewis got the Lions interception, and I want to say It was, I'll tell you exactly where it was at here in just a minute. It was at the, let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, they were 1st and 10 at the Detroit 26. He threw a short pass off to the left intended for Sam Laporte and intercepted by Jordan Lewis at the Detroit 29-yard line. So it's right at the 30. All right. Now we about 2 minutes and some change left in the game. It's like 1 minute. It's like one play before the 2-minute warning, right? And so I got questions. I got big. So we ended up throwing the ball. Let's see here. Now, on that first play, Tony Pollard runs off the left tackle for 7 yards, but they called a penalty on Peyton Hendershot for tripping, and it was right at the 2-minute warning. And I wanted to go back and look at that, but they never showed the replay because Hendershot is looking at the jumbotrons like tripping. He's like, "What are you talking about?" Because I've seen my boy John Hussey call a stupid AWS tripping call on Tyler Biotis in the Philly game that wasn't tripping. You know, tripping is like you go and swipe a guy's legs from under him or you shoot the cags up under him. That's stuff you know from Pop Warner. You don't do that. That's a personal foul. Okay? Which because you know that ends up being 15 yards. So it goes from the 29 to the 44-yard line. So you're out of field goal range, essentially, right? That's a 60-yard field goal at that point. Now I know Money Butter Aubrey can make that, but you don't want him kicking that kind of field goal. But they never went back and looked at that because the 2-minute warning, and they went away for the commercial break, and they came back and they just went on with. And so people was wondering why was the Cowboys throwing because they was trying to get back in field goal range. It's like it's 1st and 25 because they called that tripping play. I really want to go back and look at that because they never showed us that tripping play. Right? And they called that play, and then once they got, I think they end up hitting, end up being 1st and 10 for the 29. And then there's 2-minute warning. And it was 1st and 25 from the Detroit 44, right? And to determine how long a field goal, they just add 17 yards to that, right? So that would have been a 61-yard field goal from the 44-yard line, all right? So that's why, okay, we got to throw because we can't just run it and get 1 yard, run because we can't get 1 yard and have him kicking a 60-yard field goal, right? So that's why they were throwing, right? So it's 1st and 25. So they end up going to CeeDee Lamb for 11 yards and it's 2nd down and 14. Timeout number 2 by Detroit, okay? All right. Then they go CeeDee Lamb incomplete. So it's 3rd down and 14, okay? And then he short pass to Jake Ferguson for 8 yards. Ends up being 4th down and 6. And of course, now they played like they was going to go for it on 4th down. I'm like, dude, you ain't up about 4. And I'm glad they didn't because Detroit went right down, got a touchdown. So I'm glad they didn't. But they played around at the line of scrimmage and played around there. Here we go. Yeah, hut. Here we go. No. Y'all better not snap that daggone ball. Bringing Turpin in, making them think they finna run some gadget play. And they ain't run nothing. So it ended up being a field goal. But they was wondering why they threw the ball on both of those, but they was really trying. Really, to me, I guess what they're saying is once CeeDee Lamb caught that 11-yarder and you got it down at the 33-yard line, that would have made it a 50-yard field goal. You probably should have just ran it there, and that would have made Detroit have to use their last timeout at that point. But you threw it, and Detroit, and then Detroit called a timeout, 4th down and 6. But they would have called their 4th timeout between 3rd and 4th down. So they would have they could have ran that ball and they could have ran down like the minute and a half or something. And then they kicked the field goal. But anyway, they didn't do it. They ended up kicking the field goal. And of course, they go like 8 plays and 60, 75 yards and get a touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't know what kind of coverage that was, but all of the coverages was soft, man. I don't know what kind of coverage that was on all of the plays because it's like they went like 30 yards, 15 yards. I'm like, dude, they had field goal. They're in the range already. I'm like, what are y'all doing? And it's like no, we can't give up pressure. We can't get pressure. And I'm like, and I know they was giving some kudos to uh, uh, what's my man name? Purnell, the dude from Oregon. Purnell, I think it's Purnell. I can't think of his name right now, but he's that guy, the first round pick that got a couple of years ago out of Oregon. But he's a stud at right tackle, man. He's a stud. They kept lining Mike up on. Line him up on line him up on Ragnar, line him up on one of these other dudes, you know. But anyway, they they got a touchdown and then they went for two, in which I knew they would. My heart just bumping out of his chest because I'm setting up my live already, and I'm saying Cowboys get a gutsy win because I'm like, yeah, they're not gonna let them score a touchdown, and they get there and let them score a touchdown. So I'm backspacing. I'm like, oh Lord, Cowboys lose a tough one in indiscriminable fashion. And then I see they get the thing, and then I see the referees talking to each other, and they say illegal touching because I didn't realize was it what's that tackle's name? I want to say it was I want to say it was anyway he was not eligible, but I know I saw them talking to them on the sideline. But see this is the thing, and you can call the Cowboys lucky for this or whatnot, but why don't you call Dan Campbell reckless? Because once you got that penalty, I'm kicking the extra point. I'm going to overtime. We can win it in overtime, right? Um, because I'm just not. Because really got lucky because Jared Goff really threw a pick. If Michael don't jump in the neutral zone, that's a pick because he probably throws the same place. But he threw some pass out to the left flat. It was incomplete, and the Cowboys hang on. But here's the thing. If you're going to call a 2-point play, you mean to tell me you ain't got a 2-point play that you got lined up that ain't some goofy ass tackle eligible play? Because you had two dudes trying to report, which they were saying, but two dudes can't be eligible, which I never knew. I don't know. Who knows all that stuff? When they start talking about all that technical jargon about like a guy lining up on the line and a guy lining back off the line and all that kind of stuff, which is like, oh, you can only have 6 guys on the line of scrimmage and this guy's up, so he's not covered, so he can't be eligible, all that kind of stuff. That stuff, once you start getting into that stuff, you need to just run a conventional play. Because there's too many loose ends right there that got to be tied up, to me. Now you can say Cowboys got lucky, but I choose to say that the Lions got reckless because they want to run some crazy plays. You got weapons. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got 2 stud running backs. Why are you running a thing to your tackle? Is his name Parsons too? I can't remember what that guy's name is. Parham maybe. But yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they just run the ball, I think they probably get that. We're not even having this discussion. I'm not even up here shaking my water. What I do with my water bottle? Oh, here it is. I'm not shaking my thing in my water bottle. Okay, I'm really like mad. I'm throwing my water bottle against the TV, right? But I think it was a couple of things. I think he got reckless. I think they shouldn't have tried that play that crazy for a 2-point conversion. But they did. They tried it, and it was just. I just thought there's just too many loose ends. You got too many things that had to be right. Too many things that could go wrong, right? And don't get me wrong. I like that he went for 2 because if it was my call, I said, yeah, we're gonna try to go for 2, right? But I'm not. I would be mad if Mike McCarthy called that play for us. He called a play to Tyron Smith. I've been mad. Like, you got CeeDee Lamb, you got Cooks, you got Tony Pollard linking out the backfield. You got probably Cavante Turpin leaking out, whatever. Jake Ferguson. You run a play to Tyron Smith. You run a play to Terrence Steele. Or you run a guard eligible to Zach Martin. What are we doing? What are we doing? I would be mad if Mike McCarthy called that play. All right? I would be mad. I would be upset if Mike McCarthy called that play. But anyway, man, Cowboys get the win. You can say it's controversial, but hey, we're going to take it. We take any kind of win we get. And I was like, man, don't tell me we're getting ready to lose 21-20 and then 22-20 in back-to-back weeks. Don't tell me that. Because, I mean, dang, we could have won both of them games. We could have been 13-3 right now with a game in Washington to go and try to win our 14th win. So, but anyway, let's look at the tape. But yeah, so that's third down call that Mike McCarthy called. I got a problem with because you should have ran the ball there. You used a 33. You got an 8-yard thing by Ferguson. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was okay. I mean, it wasn't an incomplete, so they still had to use the timeout. But it wasn't that second incomplete pass is what I'm talking about. You probably could have ran the ball there, but you really need to get inside the. But once you got that with that first 14-yarder, it made it second down and 11. I think you probably could have been okay with running the ball there, but they threw an incomplete pass. And that incomplete pass to CeeDee Lamb was what got everybody's panties in the bunch right there. And then on third down, they went to Ferguson for that 8-yarder. They got it down to the 25 or 24 and made it like a 44-yard field goal or something like that, 45, something like that, which is, with money, that's with money Aubrey or Butter Aubrey, whatever you want to call it. We know that was a good. But yeah, that's after you got the 14 yards back, basically you got the yardage back from that Peyton Hendershot penalty, and you got, a yard extra. And so, or a yard less. But I mean, basically, you got essentially the same yardage back. So really using field goal range when you intercepted the ball. So you get the 31, 32, whatever. And so really, you could have just ran the ball there and made them use a timeout there. And then you see they saved the timeout, which you're throwing the incomplete on second down and 11. And then third and 11, you threw it. And you got completion, but then they call the last timeout. But they would have called a last timeout on the what play before that had you ran it. See? And so when they got the ball back, there might not have only been about 25 or 30 seconds left, if you want to play the math game on that. But so I got questions on that Peyton Hendershot thing. And then, of course, I want to know what's the rule on the tackle eligibles. How many can you have? I don't know the rules on that, but they'll be talking about that for a minute, right? But I never saw the replay on that Peyton Hendershot. I want to see that, right? So anyway, let's go look at the stars of the game. And to me, on offense, I mean, who else would it be but CeeDee Lamb? Now, I'm guessing he saw what Amari Cooper did last week. With 13 for like 276 and 2 touchdowns. And he's like, all right, Amari, I know you was kind of my mentor. You was on the team when I got here. And so we'll try to, so he got 11 for, 13 for 227 and 1 with that 92-yard touchdown. He had a 49-yarder last week and a 92-yarder this week. And I'm going to put Brandon Cooks on there because I always say, man, Brandon Cooks is so talented. He's so misused. And I go back to talking about, he's an outside kid. So we're not going to. But I see when Dak get in that red zone, who he be throwing it to. Because he got one last week to Cooks in the left side of the end zone. This time he hit Cooks on the back side of the end zone on the right side. He go to Cooks when he get in that red zone. He know Cooks is money. He know Cooks money. But Cooks is so good. He's so freaking clutch. But Cooks, 5 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown, giving him 7 for the season, including a 21-yarder, which set up the touchdown for earlier to set it up on the drive, a 21-yarder. So Cooks gets a game ball too to me. Then how can you not give rain Dakota Prescott. Here we go. You know, offensive line was spotty. You know, I know we saw Tyler Smith go down in the third quarter. And I was like, oh my God. He looked like he was holding the back of his foot. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, I hope that's not an Achilles. I hope that's not a calf strain or an Achilles. Because that's like, I mean, like, no. And the next thing I know, I'm seeing TJ Bass come in the game. But TJ Bass didn't play bad. He didn't play bad at all. He kind of held up a little bit. Terrence Steele, and I think gave up a sack late. And I gave up a couple of pressures, but Dak stood in there, and I know he took a hit on that pass to on one of them passes to CD. He threw a perfect pass, and he got hit right in the mouth. But Dak Prescott was 26 out of 38 for 345 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw that 1 interception in the first quarter. That gives him 32 touchdowns for the season and 8 interceptions. I was kind of hoping he got 2 more to get to his 200th. But I know one thing. I know CeeDee Lamb moves up with the all-time winningest, all-time receiving record. I think he ends up with let's see here. I don't know if this thing updates immediately. I don't think it did, but they got him for, yeah, I guess it does. They got CeeDee Lamb now with 122 catches, which is a team record. 122 catches, 1,651 yards, and 10 touchdowns. Yeah, that's first team All Pro if you need him. Okay, that's first team All Pro. Because I'm thinking, I know Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Evans played basketball. I know Tyreek Hill, is having a monster season, but right now, 1,651 yards, 10 touchdowns, 122 catches. CeeDee Lamb you could make an argument that CeeDee Lamb is the best receiver in the NFL, and nobody would say anything to you. I know Justin Jefferson got hurt, missed a good chunk of the season. I know Tyreek Hill got hurt in the Titans game, and he missed a good chunk of the season. And CeeDee Lamb really hadn't been the only thing holding CeeDee Lamb back is Mike McCarthy in the offense, because he really should have like 140 catches this year, if you want to be honest with you. Honest. But this is updated, so it's 122, 1,651 yards, and with a game to play. So we really still got an opportunity, depending on what happens tomorrow with the Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals. We still got a chance to win that division and possibly still get the number 2 seed. That's still on the table. So I look for CeeDee Lamb to have some more catches next week up at our FedEx Field in D.C. Add to his 122. Probably have over 1,700 catches and 11 or 12 touchdowns. So we'll see how that go. But Brandon Cooks, I think he's got like 50. I think he's got 50 catches now, which, I mean, I'm sort of frustrated with that because I like I was telling you, I think Brandon Cooks is so. I think in terms of like speed, I think he's the fastest guy on our team. I think there's some politics as to why they don't use him more than they do. It's just what it is. But Brandon Cooks has actually he still don't have 50 catches. He's got 48 catches for 618 yards and 7 touchdowns. Still a pretty nice touchdown, and he might have another couple next week. Of course, and we're gonna need him next week too. But he got 48 for 618 and 7 touchdowns. Okay. I was disappointed that they didn't get the ball to Jake Ferguson more. There was a couple of passes I thought he missed. The Dak thread that thing right in there on the seam. The guy made a good play on the one. I guess I think Ferguson was probably surprised that the guy could get that close to him, but the ball was in his hands. Dak basically reached out and handed it to him. That was in the first half. I think that was on that drive where we got the 92-yard touchdown. Because I think he tried to hit on second down. I think he tried to hit Jake Ferguson on a seam route, and he zeroed that thing right in there, and Jake Ferguson didn't catch it. It was incomplete. And then he came back on that third one, should have been sacked, could have been sacked, but Dak got out of it, hit it for that 92-yarder. Now, defense, it's got to begin and end with Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis has 6 tackles, 3 solo, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups. He's my player of the game on defense with those two picks. Um, we're not in this position with to win the game without Jordan Lewis's two picks. He's my defensive player of the game. Okay, but then you got to look at Donovan Wilson. Ending on the run, making some good plays in the backfield, making some pass breakups. He had 11 tackles, 6 solo, one pass breakup. Uh, Marquise Bell with his little tail. He's 205 pounds. No, Troy Aikman kept saying 250. That dude 205. Stop saying that. He's 205. But he had 10 tackles, 8 solo, one tackle for loss. Jaron Curse, even though I thought he misplayed that one on Sam Laporta, he ended up with now we had like 4 players with 3 players with more than 10 tackles. I thought that was very important on our defense. And we gave up some plays, but they was up in there. I think it was important seeing that we didn't have no linebackers. We got safeties and corners playing linebacker, coming in, feeling on the run. And Jaron Curse had 10 tackles, 7 solo, 1 pass defense. And I think he had a tackle for loss also. And then, of course, you can't say nothing about Micah. Micah had 6 tackles, 5 solo, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits. And then, of course, I thought that DeMarcus Lawrence played a well of game, even though don't have him listed. He had 5 tackles, 3 solo, 2 tackles for loss himself. I think we ended up with about 7 tackles for loss in this game. That's pretty good. 7 tackles for loss in the game. He ended up with 2 of those. So shouts out to DeMarcus Lawrence. Even though I don't have him listed, man, Tank Lawrence always plays well. And he's a steady force on that defensive line. But the Cowboys get a win, man. Won our 11th game. Didn't win it with no style points. Won it by the skin of our teeth, 20-19. Won by 1 point. Won our 16th straight home game. We undefeated at home, going 8-0. We won our 11th game. We 11-5. It had some questions. Defense, how we played on that last drive. I thought we would really choke up on that. And I thought really we should have mixed it up, blitzed on a couple, backed off on a couple, give Jared Goff some looks because the tape shows that when you heat him up, he ain't the same quarterback. He panics. That's why he got the 2 interceptions. He got heated up, and he threw it quick and threw a pick. And Jordan Lewis read it both times and got picks, okay? And I thought we kind of played it way too conservative, and it almost cost us. Because if Dan Campbell calls a more conventional play on those 2-point conversions, we probably go home with an L. All right, so I'm one of the Cowboy fans. I'm happy we got a win, but man, there's a lot of stuff we got to clean up. Now I gotta keep it in perspective. That's a good team we played. Okay, I think next to San Francisco, that might be the second best team we played this year. Okay, we played them in our building on our track on our turf. And I think we ended up with about 400 yards of offense. 384. We ended up with 384 and 17 first downs. We had 384. Ran 62 plays. 7 of 14 on third down. They were 2 or 3 on fourth down. So that's like 6. That's like 2 more conversions on third down because they got them on fourth down. They had 298 yards passing. We had 323. We only had about 70 yards rushing. I think we only had like 70 yards rushing. I think they had like 100 and here we go. We had 61 yards rushing. And they had 125. So that's the third or fourth best rush. I think they rushed for like 141 yards a game. So we held them under their average by like 17 yards. So, I guess you can find some solace in that play. Time of possession was right about even. We had 1 fumble. They had 2 interceptions. They had 2 turnovers. We had 1 turnover. I thought it was a well-played game. Two good defenses, two good offenses, but the defenses kind of dictated, to a little bit. I know we had that, turnover on downs, a turnover at the 1 yard line, but we'd have probably had about 27 points. But we'll take it. But anyway, we got 11 wins, and I'm checking my chats to see if anybody got anything to chat with your boy about. We get a win, man. I think that the thing should be heavy, man. It should be heavy. We got a win, and everybody should be happy. I know it's late, and but we get a win, and it's a much needed win against a good team. We got wins, then we got wins against like 4 winning teams. Okay, because you can say, we got a win against the Lions, which got 11 wins. We got wins against the Eagles, we got 11 wins. We got wins against the Seahawks, they got 8 wins. Got wins against the Rams, they got 8 wins. Okay, 4 wins against winning teams. Okay, now it would have been nice. We could have got that win against the Dolphins. Would have had 5 against winning teams, but whatever, man. Of course, we didn't even show up against the Buffalo Bills. But come on now, we got 4 wins against winning teams, and we 8-0 at home. We 3-5 on the road. Hopefully, we make that 4-5 on the road, and it'll be our 3rd straight 12-5 season. And I was talking to somebody on the chat today. They was talking about, and there was something they were saying to Emmanuel Ocho, and he was talking about how long is Cowboy fans going to put up with mediocre. For he's talking about the front office not doing more. And don't get me wrong, I get frustrated with our front office because it's like we just do enough stuff to stay in the race. We don't do enough to lead the race or get in front or dominate in the race. We just do enough to stay in the pack, right? Because we don't want to upset 2027. God forbid we do something to mess up 2027, right? Or 2026, or upset the apple cart where 2027 is sort of like we got to start letting go of some players we might want to keep. But we might end up winning a Super Bowl in 2023 or 2024. But you're not willing to do that for 2020, 2025, 26 to do that. So I don't like that. But they were saying, but I got a problem with them calling us mediocre because we can win at FedEx Field next week and get our 12th win. You do realize we'd be the only team in the last 3 years to win 12 games. You do get that, right? Not the Chiefs, okay? The Chiefs not winning 12 games this year. Okay, I think they won 13 or 14 first year, won 13 last year. The most they can win is 11 this year. That's the most they can win this year because they got 6 losses, including like 3 or 4 at Jihad Stadium in their own building. Okay, so they're not winning 3 in a row. The Eagles, their first season, they won 9. They were 9-8, so they went 13-4. And their best they can do this year is go. I think they can go 13-4. They were 14-3 last year, so the most they can go this year is 13-4. If they win this week and they win next week, okay. So they would have win 13, but no, there's a chance they could lose one of these last 2, okay. And they not and them, only win 12, but but they didn't win it 3 years in a row. 12, that's 24. That's 36 wins. You know, no team in the NFL has won back 12 win seasons. Okay, nobody. Okay, so to me, that's not mediocre. Now, now, you're asking the wrong questions because if you're asking me, am I frustrated that we don't do enough where we can be dominant in the playoffs? Yes, because I think we got 3 players that I think are great players. I think Dak's a great player. I don't care what nobody says. Dak's still an MVP candidate. That touchdown drive he threw with pressure all over the place, guys missing, putting balls right on the money, threading the needle. Dude, Dak Prescott's having an amazing season. I don't care what nobody says. He's a first-team All-Pro quarterback this year. I don't care what nobody says. He's having probably the best season for a quarterback this year, okay? Purdy got 4 interceptions. Like he got like 13, 12, 13 interceptions. So get off of me with that. Okay. And Dak's had over 4,000 yards. He's got like 4,200 yards already. Okay. 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, right? CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Those 3 players are studs right now. They're first team all pros in all 3 of their respective positions. Okay. But if you just had a few more support personnel, I mean, it's not a cardinal sin to get a person from off of some other else's team that's a player. Man, why couldn't we have got Sebastian Day? But we let the 49ers get him. We could have used Sebastian Day, Jonathan Sebastian Day. I think that's his name. We could have used him. Wasn't nothing wrong with him. The Chargers just got rid of him because they got like 5 players making $30 million. Man, it was a salary cap dump. Wasn't nothing wrong with him. Okay? Wasn't nothing wrong with him. The only thing is he's an outside kid. And see, the other teams don't have problems getting outside players. Because if they did, the 49ers wouldn't have got Javon Hargrave, wouldn't have got Chase Young, wouldn't have got Randy Gregory. And now they get Sebastian Day, okay? Because they know he can't do nothing but help. All right, because one of the defensive linemen went down. So you got to do something about that. You got to help, your drafted players. You got to help them with your outside players. It's not a cardinal sin to get outside players. Okay, that's why I think they don't utilize Brandon Cooks as much. When you look at the target disparity between CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks is almost criminal. Don't get me wrong, I like them spamming CeeDee Lamb because that was the question last week. But for Brandon Cooks to only get like 60 targets and CeeDee Lamb get like 150, 160, come on now. Brandon Cooks should get like 80 targets for him to have like 75 catches. He should have 75 catches for like 1,000 yards. But he don't get targeted enough. Okay. So, but yeah, I think that hang up on it's got to be our dudes. It's kind of like the thing that's keeping us from being all we can be. All right. That's what I'm upset about. And I don't think we're mediocre. I think we draft so well that we can do what we're doing on just drafted players. Okay. And we'll get from the 5 and dime, Curse was a 5 and dime player. Hooker was a 5 and dime player. Donovan Wilson's a guy we drafted, so that's why he kind of gets to hang around and stuff. He got a nice deal too. But a lot of those guys, Jonathan Hankins was sort of like a 5 and dime guy. They got a nice deal for him to get him out from the Raiders. And we need him. Yeah, I know you want to try to get Mozzie Smith to kind of do what he does from a drafted perspective, but Mozzie Smith done lost like 20 pounds, 40 pounds. He down to 292. So that's another story, and I don't want to drag this video out no longer than it really should be. I was trying to hang on to see if any more people's going to join me on my live, because I'm just happy we got a win. I just feel I just like to talk a lot when the Cowboys win. Yeah, I talk 2-3 hours. I've already been on an hour, right? But Cowboys getting this win. But I'm looking forward to what the playoffs is holding, because I'm really hoping we can get that number 2 seed. I'm really hoping we can get that number 2 seed, because I really want to be able to get a number 2. I guess we get number 1. I love the number 1, but I'd love to get that number 2, because that agrees that allows us to get a home game. And because, like I've said, you get at least 2 home games if you get the number 2 seed, and then you get that 3rd game. And I'm hoping that maybe we've been built up enough dander from those 2 home games that we can maybe, I feel pretty confident we could get one on the road. But going out on the road right out the gate, man, that's a lot, because a lot of times those wild card teams, I mean, very seldom you see it. I think Green Bay did it back in 2020. 2010 with Mike McCarthy. I think they won 3 on the road. I think they came up short when they had the first pick. I mean, when they had the top seed. So that's the thing there. But It's all about the playoffs to me. It's all about the playoffs. Can we summon up enough mental fortitude, mental toughness, whatever you want to call it, to win on the road? Can we not make silly penalties on the road? Can we not hold? Can we not make defensive lapses? Can we cover like we're supposed to cover? Can we block the guys we're supposed to block? Can Terrence Steele? Can we not get beat? But I can't fault him for that, man. Aiden Hudson made a heck of a spin move on that, man. I can't be mad at him. And he made a move on Tyron Smith too. Aiden Hutchinson's a stud. I can't be too mad at that, right? I think Dak did get sacked 3 times tonight. I think he did. How many times did he get sacked? I think Dak did get sacked. I don't have it in here. Yeah, here it is. 3 for 22. Okay, he got sacked 3 times for 22, and I know Aiden Hutchinson was 2 of them. I don't know who the other one was. So that's problematic because he's been sacked probably about 35, 40 times this year, and that's my thing. If the offensive line can give Dak time to throw, and they can just do a little something in the running game, maybe we can get Rico Dowdle back, give him a little power in the running game. We tried, my man landlord called Deuce Vaughn Little Legs. He be killing me on that. But he gave us a little something. Got a 2-3 yard run. Then he had like a 9-yard pass play, which I thought we should have gave him another one of them. But I don't think nobody can cover him. He's so little and quick. I think he could do that. But he got a couple of plays, and Lipke got a run or 2 in there, whatever. But we didn't really do a whole lot on the running game. But Detroit's a good running defense, So, I thought we got some nice runs late. And I think Tony probably had an 18-yard run, like a 7 or 8-yard run late, and like an 8-9 yard where we got behind the pile and pushed and stuff. I thought that's good. That shows a little bit of physicality. But those are the things I'm concerned about going into the playoffs: our ability to run the ball, our ability for our offensive line to play competent football and just play their position, just do their job. I'm not asking for them to, open up running lanes for us to run for 200 yards, but can we get 95 yards and some key first downs? Can we keep Dak clean in the pocket? Maybe 1 sack, and him maybe a couple of pressures. Can we just keep him clean? And I think I like our chances. I like our chances because that's where because I think as long as we get pass protection, and we get just a little bit of running game, I think Dak's gonna do whatever. Dak gonna do what he do. Okay, I think he's gonna do what he does. But anyway, check in. Any more chats? Don't see him. I don't see any more. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and sign off for the night, man. I know I'm gonna sleep good tonight. Cowboys get a win. Wasn't one of them wins where you won by comfortable margin, but if you win by 1, it's still a dub. So it's dub day, landlord. It's dub day, so we get the dub. That's all you want. You get the dub. But anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports Experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Cowboys get the win 21-20. They moved to 11-5 with a win next week at FedEx Field for a chance to go 12-5 for the 3rd consecutive season. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm hoping maybe them Eagles will give us one, and we can get that number 2 seed. But anyway, that's all I got. We'll catch you guys on the next video.